Perfect. Great. Thank you all for coming. My name is Parker Scott, for those of you who I've not had the chance to meet yet. I am United Way's new Community Impact Coordinator, and I will be the main point of contact for the United to Solve Homelessness program, and Community Housing Navigators, and this request for proposals. So I want to jump right into talking about this funding, and I want to be a resource throughout this process. I'll take some questions at the end, so please save them for then. But if you have questions after the meeting or throughout the grant application process, should your organization apply, please reach out to me. I'll have my contact info listed on the last slide. So please save that, and I'd love to talk with you about it. Perfect. We'll jump in here. So Dean's dropped a link to our website in the chat, and that link has all of the relevant documents for the RFP, an FAQ sheet that has some frequently asked questions, as well as scoring criteria and a CHN job description that'll be mentioned throughout this presentation, as well as in the application itself. So definitely check out that page. It should be helpful in filling out your application. So a little bit about this award and what this funding will go towards. Award amounts will be a maximum of $75,000 per year per CHN applied for or granted. There are a total of 4 CHNs available to receive funding for, and that's community-wide. Agencies can apply for more than one CHN, but only a total of 4 will be allocated across all agencies. Additionally, an agency could request a partial FTE position as part of their application, essentially 2 half-time employees moving up to a full-time, or 2 half-time positions. But each agency who applies must apply for at least one 1.0 FTE in their application. And then these funds also cannot supplant current work. The deadline to apply is May 2nd at 11:59, and awardees will be notified in June. Funding is through June 2028, so it's a 3-year grant, and funding will be allocated every year. So it won't be the full salary up front at this year, at the initial time of award. The actual funding will be transferred to grantees in July. Who can apply? So any 501c3 or government entity is eligible to apply for this funding, as long as they provide service here in Yellowstone County, and are part of currently or willing and able to be added to HIMIS, the Homeless Management Information System, and coordinated entry. And there may be certain caveats to that based on specific examples, but by and large, we will be using the Homeless Management Information System and coordinated entry as part of this funding. And then that link that Dean put in the chat has the application link on that page as well, and you can apply through that link. So what this funding will be for specifically, the Community Housing Navigators. Those 4 navigators that are awarded will have a pretty expansive job. This grant will award the funds to hire CHNs whose job it will be to provide housing solutions for families experiencing homelessness. This position will be focused on providing wraparound, in-depth case management. We really want to focus and put emphasis on that wraparound and in-depth. We envision these roles as being in-depth case managers, helping their clients with a range of barriers to housing and to maintaining housing. Um, and that wraparound piece, there will be things that are not specifically locating housing that will be parts of the CHN's job. And CHNs will assist their clients from their coordinated entry all the way until they've attained sustainable housing and beyond that point. So we really want to focus on sustainable housing and helping clients attain that housing and not, lose it right away. We want to put people in a position to succeed, and these CHNs will be doing that. Services CHNs will provide include, but are not limited to, case assessment, pre-tenancy support, housing navigation, tenancy sustaining services, and wraparound service coordination. We envision CHNs being the lowest barrier support possible, a housing first approach with a sustainability focus is how we're looking at it. We want any client eligible under the grant to be able to go to a CHN and receive services from that specific CHN, regardless of the agency that's hosting them. And those CHNs will be working with that client on an ongoing basis, providing in-depth support. And a lot more is detailed on the CHN job expectation document, which can also be found at that link that Dean dropped in the chat. So, like I said, we want CHNs taking on any client that meets grant restrictions and supporting that client to attaining sustainable housing. We want them to be self-sufficient, but we recognize that there are intense barriers to achieving housing here in Billings, and the CHNs should be focused on removing those barriers. The CHNs will be given latitude to provide the best strategy of support within the guidelines that are laid out in that CHN job expectations document, and the other resources available to them. Again, I want to highlight that CHNs will be doing more than just housing navigation. They'll be providing encompassing case management and providing direct support and in-person warm handoff referrals when necessary. And ideally, these CHNs are the nexus of support for their clients. These client families, we don't want them, passed around to different agencies necessarily without that main rock of support that they can always go back to, and who's helping them coordinate between different services in the community, different referrals, different agencies. And then the in-depth piece, the CHNs will be providing in-depth case management, and this means different things to different agencies. We envision this as in-depth support that may include multiple hours a week with a client. It'll likely look different depending on where each CHN is hosted at, but generally, providing all the support that that client needs, and that will be client specific. But we really do envision these CHNs being an in-depth resource for their clients. And that support will continue on beyond when they achieve housing. So we want to make sure that these funds are well utilized and support long-term housing for the clients who receive support or housing solutions funds, and ensure that they're maintaining housing long-term. Our metric will be keeping clients housed for 6 months. They may need continued support beyond those 6 months, although ideally it would be much less support than they needed before that 6-month period of being in housing has been reached. And then again, for more details on those CHNs, please refer to that CHN job expectations document. And if you have any questions, please mention them at the end. Then we'll head over to definitions. These are the key definitions under this grant that really outline who is eligible to receive support from a CHN. And it is somewhat of a specific group. They're and I'll read these definitions out to you verbatim. They're also listed on some of those documents, so you can refer back to those. The two key definitions as it relates to this grant are family and homeless. For the family, and they need to meet both of these definitions, not either or. So a family consists of a group that includes at least one dependent child under the age of 18 and the person or people providing for their care and well-being. This could include minors who are in their care currently or who are temporarily separated from them. For example, staying with friends, family, or are with CPS. Or it could include someone who is pregnant. Clients will only need to meet the definition of family at the time of intake, the time they're put through coordinated entry with their CHN. If life circumstances change during the case management process, they can continue to receive support from the CHN and any funds under this grant. And additional eligibility, because there are a lot of unique cases, and we expect, to have to address on an ongoing basis those cases, whether they fit grant restrictions. Those will be considered on a case-by-case basis. But this is our general jumping off point for what is allowed in terms of family under our grant restrictions. And then homeless. So in addition to being a family, these families will need to be experiencing homelessness. And that's defined here as currently living any amount of time that includes currently is how we're defining currently living in a housing situation they do not directly own or have a lease for, including but not limited to couch surfing, at a shelter, in a car, in a transitional housing facility, in sober living, or outside. And some of you may already have clients in mind that you're wondering if they qualify under these two definitions. And please connect with me individually offline. And we'll get more into this when grantees are awarded. But if you have questions about those definitions, please let me know. All right, and then application information. So we're going to take you through the outline, which is also at that link that Dean provided. This is a Word formatted copy of the actual application that you'll be filling out. If you run into any questions with your application, any sort of errors, technology, snafus, anything like that, please let me know about that as well, and we'll work to get that resolved. So let me jump over to that. See if I can share my screen here. All right, can everyone see this Word document? Perfect. So we have some general application information here, some stuff I already covered. We'll be collecting general information. One of our first questions will be how many positions your agency is requesting. And whatever you enter there should be reflected throughout the rest of your application. Our first section is qualifications and experience. We'll ask about your organizational background. on what populations you've currently are working with or have worked with in the past, to inform in your ability to continue working with those groups. Uh, ask about agency qualifications, um, your commitment to diversity, equity, and inclusion. And I do want to mention that none of these funds are federal. So please feel free to fill out that section as you would normally. We don't have any federal reporting requirements, or none of these funds are from a federal source. Plan and implementation, we want to know how you plan to implement your CHN and what that's going to look like at your agency. And how you intend to collaborate with others in the community, whether that be other agencies, coalitions, any partnerships, as well as some grant specific things like the homeless management information system. We'll request a budget that should reflect the number of CHN positions that you're requesting. Again, that can be up to 75,000 a year per CHN position that you're applying for. It doesn't have to be 75,000, but that is the max per position. And that can cover personnel, supplies, equipment, travel, admin, indirect, other. We do ask if your agency is intending on supplying agency match over the 3 years, and you can detail that here. It is not required, but it is scored. So agencies who do provide that funding will get a bonus of 2 points as is listed on their application. We'll ask you to lay out your narrative, your budget narrative, and explain how you intend to use your funds. And then one of our focuses, as mentioned before, is sustainability, not only for clients once they achieve housing, but also once the grant term ends. So we want to know applicants' plans to continue supporting these populations following grant end in 2028. And then additionally, we want to ensure that agencies are formulating their plan in a way that supports their CHN, minimizes burnout, and maintains a reasonable caseload. And that will look different depending on each agency's structure, but a generally outlined plan is what we're looking for. Section 5, these are documents that will be in the application as well as on the web page that Dean dropped in the chat. Definitely refer to them. They are referenced in some of the questions and provide valuable information, so I would recommend taking a look at those. And then the only documents we'll have you attach to your application are a Form 990 and then your budget form in the budget section. And that will have a spot in the budget section for you to submit that. Before I move forward, well, we can just pull it back up, actually. Stop sharing that. Here. So next steps. So today's the 8th. The next step is application close, and that'll be on the 2nd, May 2nd. At 11:59, the application will close, and we will no longer be accepting any submissions. And then we expect to award or notify of award in June, as early as June 2nd, but it may be later in June. And then funding will start being allocated in July. And I have the application link here as well. All right, any questions from anyone? Anything that wasn't quite clear or you want me to go more in depth on? Even if it's something on documents on that web page, any questions at all? And feel free to put them in the chat as well.
You must have done a great job of explaining everything. Oh, here we go. Here's a question.
Yes. So the homeless management information system, many agencies are already a part of that. If your organization isn't, my understanding is that it's a simple process. It's run through the COC here in Billings. Um, to get signed up, I believe you just need to make an account, and there's a fee. Some of that is a little bit up in the air with the COC's funding currently, and their coordinated entry lead, the funding for that position. So we'll have more clarification for that as we go forward. But from what I've been told by that CES lead, Tess, anyone can apply to be entered into the system. There's no restrictions on who can do that. The only restriction would be on the agency's end. So if your agency is participating in a program or a grant or has a policy that you can't share client information in a system like that, then there might be some barriers there. But outside of that, that process should be simple and straightforward. The United Way would support you in getting into that system to ensure the CHN could meet all grant requirements. Does that answer what you were asking, Angela?
And I'll just add too that Tess has agreed to. I'll just add that Tess has agreed to help train people and help get people onto that system going forward. Yes. And if there is whatever the fee is, you can actually put that fee on your budget for this project.
And I want to say the fee for one user is maybe a couple $100. So it shouldn't impact your proposal too much. And I think it's only once you get up to, 15, 20 users at one organization that it's any significant amount of money in terms of what we're awarding. Any other questions or anything else that anyone wants clarification on? All right. Well, if there aren't any more questions or clarifications needed, please reach out to me if while you're reviewing those documents you have any questions, or if there are any application issues, please do so as well. Again, my name is Parker Scott. My email is there on that slide along with my phone number. So please reach out. I'd love to talk to you. Great.
Thanks, everybody. Good to see you.
And yeah, thanks so much for being here.